Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, buddy. So, Bite Boss, Dad,
Oh.
you two met?
Yeah, I was at his battle the other night.
Okay.
What's up, Bite?
So, yo, not much. Drink a coffee.
That was some craziness. Thank you. I'm pretty sure there's quite a few people in here that were there the other night. That was amazing. So thanks for all the help. That was a blast.
Oh, it's all good. I had fun.
Morning, everybody. Good. Well, I think this is a good, healthy thing that'll, hopefully grow. I think it's a good, I think it's a good way of, creating a touch point, every week.
Share.
Yeah, do you want to start out doing stuff like that? Just basic touch base with each other, depending on who's in the boxes, and then go over goals and how the week went, that type of thing?
Yeah, I think what's, important, right, is to, highlight, what worked, what didn't work kind of thing, but try to stay, why, I know the three of us will stay easily very positive and objective oriented rather than more worried about little nuances and other little things. So I just try to stay more on the bigger topics, and then they're relatable, right? Whole point is to help others right through this as well.
Yeah.
And I think
I don't know if the person I invited is going to come, but there's somebody that should definitely at least listen to the conversation that we're going to have today.
yeah,
I just had a massive flying ant on my shoulder.
I think. What'd you say, sorry?
I just had a massive flying ant on my shoulder.
Yeah, so I think as time grows, I don't think it really matters whether somebody, which side of the fence someone's on, whether they're, whether they host or whether they're someone who's consistently a viewer. But I think as time goes, it'll be important to highlight everybody slowly so we can be able to touch on all the areas that are important, right? And then figure out what works and doesn't work for everybody.
I might end up showing up here with a different account or hosting if it's my turn to host with a different account that actually has a guest button when we get to that point.
Yeah, because especially alternating or figuring something out. Yeah, I'm definitely easy to work with on something like that, right?
Morning, MJ. Morning, Pika.
Yeah, I've pretty much given up on this one. The only thing that showed up recently was the league ranking in the top corner for some reason the other day. I was talking about it to somebody in the live, and all of a sudden they said, "You are ranked." It just showed up.
Interesting.
Cool.
Huh.
Yeah, it's very glitchy. I'm not sure. I didn't have any nanners or anything like that, so I'm not sure where it stemmed from or what happened. But yeah,
Did you ever use the profile checker that's in your profile at the bottom, where it checks for copywritten materials and other weird thing?
Yeah.
Did you ever get any of those?
Nope.
Huh.
Yeah, that's weird.
The only other thing I could suggest to you is to wipe out TikTok on the phone and redo it. Sometimes that helps with glitchy issues. Sometimes a part of a module gets updated and not fully.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually happened to me for quite a while with audio. I don't know if Zen remembers, but there was a time where I would go read a text message and I would echo like a mofo until Kingdom Come. I had to wipe it all the way off my phone, reinstall, and then that's the only thing that fixed the problem for me. Maybe that might be something for you too to try.
Yeah, I have tried, and it's both devices. I actually had it on my laptop as well on Studio, but the laptop's not fast enough to run Studio properly, so I deleted everything off there as well. Um, but it's been uninstalled, like log out, uninstall, restart the phone, reinstall, log back in, restart the phone again, make sure there's no updates, all that wonderful stuff, and still the same problem. So I've pretty much given up on it for now.
And that's definitely one of like the frustrations of live hosting in general, right? It's just fighting through all that on top of just wanting to go live and do your thing.
Come on, Lily. Right. Stop. Sorry, my puppy is giving me some love and not paying attention to. I don't like her licking my face.
I think with me, that's one of the biggest frustrations. Think like me trying to do my fitness challenges. I've done a couple different fitness challenges with my followers, and for me to go into the chat and explain it step by step, I get filtered for it. And it's me explaining like how you break down your workout through the day, like how many movements or what kind of movement you'd like to choose, and it's nothing inappropriate, but it targets certain words for some reason, and it just like from there on, you can't even say hello, and it happens quite a bit. It's so frustrating because you can never guess what the algorithm is. It's forever changing on you. It's like
Well, they
it
don't
just
want you
flags
to
one day and
right? They don't want you to converse. So they don't want you to really like us to chat. They want us to talk because we're up here, but they want the live to comment about the live, not to really interact. And that's actually the root of how social media is engineered in the first place, right? It's not really supposed to be both ways. Like they do feed off each other in little bits, but it's supposed to be like more reactive, right? Like if the audience, it's like an audience against the stage, which makes it difficult because people want to like share stuff. But then the way to battle that is to make videos to share knowledge, right?
Mhm.
And that's a big thing as a creator is content. Content's like a huge thing that I think we all have our own reasons that we don't produce enough content, right? 'Cause it is
The other thing about that is staying on a trend. Like what I mean by that is, if you're a nerdy person, you stay on nerdy topics. If you're an auto mechanic kind of like theme, you stay with that. If you're fitness, you stay with that. If
no,
you
but
saturate too much right away from that, then it gets a little bit of like, well, what's this live or this person about? You know?
yeah, he was just having a problem like like putting in multiple like comments in a live to talk with. So he was just saying like as the role of someone in the chat. Not maybe we just missed that part, but
Well, that's possible that I did. Sorry.
it's all good. No, and I know that makes it difficult as like anybody to communicate, right? Having that kinds of stuff not make it through.
I'm also my first cup of coffee, so
That makes a lot of sense too, to stay on trend with your brand, because I kind of post all over the place. I mean, it's like I'll post music, I'll post scenery, me driving the bike, and then instructional stuff or motivational stuff, and like weekly talks. But it's not consistent through one trend. It's a bunch of different areas. So
Yeah, it makes it hard for even the platform to understand what to push out.
makes sense. Yeah, I never even thought of that. I just thought post the stuff that I want to post.
also
But it's
confused
more
with the
for
audience too, right?
yeah, it's not for growing. Well, I mean, the people that follow me understand where it comes from and why I post it, but it's not for me to try and grow. It's just for me to share with the community. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of those where you just have to look at also what your goals are too, right? It all depends on if your goals are to really niche down and to grow, or if you're fine with having that variety and continuing to just attract that audience that knows you through the uniqueness of your content and like that style.
I definitely enjoy the organic side of it, where you just through your lives you get introduced to wider and wider audiences, and if they like what they see, they follow, as opposed to just seeing your content and following because it's funny or something fake or whatever. So like without agencies as well, because man, they keep just asking, is relentless.
I think that, in my opinion, people are becoming uh, the hunted in the sense of agencies and stuff, and I'm really wanting to try to change that wave. Um, I'm trying to like I'm trying to make an environment for people to not feel what you just said. I'm wanting to almost go the opposite way and give people a place of community that isn't forced and is loved and is cared about and is trusted. And the advice is coming from places of understanding and love instead of forced by, you know, uh, a manager or managers that only want one thing.
Mm. Well, the interview process is definitely interesting when you have conversations. So, I mean, I just haven't found anybody that kind of fits that role that you just explained. So,
Well, I'm I am making a journey about that for my own self to be a beacon for that, and like that is something that is actively in my crosshairs for this year because I feel
many
people
more
deserve it.
conversations will be had.
People deserve it. People deserve to have support, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm actually thinking about doing that whole thing, making an agency about that, and not really caring about the coins because in the end, what are the coins for if not for the people? And how do you not support your people? Because like if you can't support them, then how can you proceed as a business? That's how I treat my staff currently. Like I run a
Mm.
team of people, and I truly care about them because without them, how would I succeed?
Very true.
Although with that same sentence, I often forget about myself sometimes. So there's that too, right? Caring
That's
about
what
others.
we do in a nutshell.
Yeah. Forget
Yeah,
forget about me.
that's literally what happens on here in a nutshell. Oh, look at all the messages I have to respond. Look at all the chat I have to answer to. Oh, I've run over time. I gotta go. I got stuff to do. But you stay on here and you stay answering the messages. It's it's not as simple as just sitting here and everybody thinks it's super easy. If you have it, it's easy to sit in front of the camera and have a conversation, but you are multitasking to the point where you just run yourself down because you're still trying to stay positive and entertaining. But yeah, you empty your own cup into everybody else's without even realizing. You don't realize how overwhelming it is and how quickly it catches up to you.
Very true.
I really wish there was the honest side of streaming. Like I wish there was a channel talking about this very thing and the struggles that happen behind the scenes because you can't really talk about the struggles in first person, let's say, because then that kills community in the room. But I wish there was a place where you could go to understand like the behind the scenes side of it all.
I committed myself to making one post a day. What was it, 2 months ago? Can't remember when, but it wasn't too long ago. And I said to everybody, for 1 week, you need to do something for yourself. And I committed to making a post a day. I didn't make that because I only did 6, not 7. And I kind of beat myself up a little bit on it, but I made 6, but I was struggling with the quality of the content so much that I was forever doing a take, like recording a bit and then not liking it. I didn't like the lighting, I didn't like what I said, or I screwed up some words or whatever it is. So like a quick minute video turns into an hour and a half later, you're frustrated and upset about the whole process, and you just like, I'll give up. And then it's the end of the day and you haven't done it. So you're like, ah, crap.
I feel
But
that.
if you're not worried about it, then yeah, like how many times would you record a video before you get it right and go, yeah, I'm happy with that. Now I'll add some music and I'll add some effects or whatever. It's not as easy as just hold the camera like some people do and go, done.
Well, it's practice too. Being in front of a camera, just like anyone will say, that's practice. There's a lot of things that go into just practice.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I struggle with the who part of my like information. Who do I want to be? How do I want to post? And what am I going to post about? That's what the stage where I am currently is, in that phase.
Do you think
I actually don't know what I want to post about,
Do you think long term you really have control over who you are? That post though? Do you think you really have control over that? Like what after the 1500th post? Because you'll just naturally come out by that. You might start. You might within your first 100 be able to mask a little bit, but by that 1500th post, you're definitely going to be pretty raw in comparison to that first one that you try to polish so much, right? Like it'll come out so much. You won't be able to. You can only rehearse so much for every piece of content you make, right? Like you can't spend your life like creating a script, rehearsing, going through. Like eventually, it becomes somewhat of a process. That I mean, unless you've changed yourself completely, who you are is going to come out in some way, shape, or form, whether you like it or not.
But
Yeah. Yep.
that I understand that. But what I'm saying is more like if I want to post something about something that I enjoy, it's like what am I going to start with? Right? Like for example, like I could talk about AI. I could talk about the struggles I see as an MSP. I could talk about how clients treat people, because some of them are gnarly, and I'm just not sure what to start with.
Yeah, for sure. We just have to figure out what. Usually, you want to be educative or entertaining, and to take at least one of those two initial routes to putting that piece of content in that direction, right? And usually that's that's an initial, right? Is someone looking to be entertained or learn or looking to learn something? Because rarely, it's not always the most entertaining thing to like new knowledge out of stuff. Yet we can learn through comedy. Thanks, V. So
The only consistent message that I ever tell the people that I've told to go live because they were nervous about it or post content was just go do it and find something you enjoy or talk about something you enjoy. If somebody's going to learn something from it, then that's an added benefit. But don't do it for other people until you find your niche. Do it for yourself. pick that thing that you're passionate about and just show people. And maybe people pick up on it, maybe they don't, maybe you enjoy it, maybe you don't, but just start there and then let it evolve as it does. It's same as you. Like what do you like doing, and do you want to show people? Do you want to share? And there's a lot of people that are really successful at it, and other people they haven't got the rhythm yet. They just kind of start, they kind of sit and do nothing. And they just kind of use it as a hangout, and they wonder why they don't build followers, they don't have chat, and people don't show up when they need them. It's because that's their life, right? They're showing people what they would normally do, but now they've got a camera on. But if you genuinely take something you're passionate about, like I play music for people, I cook because I like doing that, and the amount of people that interact when I do that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like I'm just a dude in a kitchen cooking like sandwiches or pizza, but the chat is great. The interaction is great. The amount of people that come in and start talking about, oh, I just made this for dinner. I'm going to have this for dinner. Or you inspired this for dinner. That stuff, that's how you just start. And that's how I started. So I just tell people that exact story. And if people don't do anything or enjoy doing anything, that comes through immediately on the camera.
That's
because you're literally just sitting here going, how is everybody? Okay.
Yeah.
Like there's times for that, but if that's all you have, that's all it's ever going to be.
Well said.
100%.
And we all have those times, right? Where we don't want to entertain. We just want to sit here and go, oh, hey, welcome in.
Well, yeah.
Good to see you. Yeah, like, and it's because we do all this other stuff and we have to, it's the multitask thing again. It drains you so quickly without you realizing. It's fun at the time. It's like an adrenaline dump. And then you're like, all right, end of the week, I don't want to do this. I just want to sit and chill. And if people come in and talk, great. If not, don't.
Yeah.
So many ups and downs.
Well, it's an app for entertainment. So then, yeah, if there's no education and no entertainment, that's usually why we don't have a lot of that's why there's movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, they're not. I mean, how often do even historically, how long would you sit on a TV channel to see what it's about before you flick through?
Yeah, not long.
Click, 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 click. Yeah.
Not long enough to know what's even going on the channel. Right? Admittedly, most people, not an idea. You have like one little screenshot of the screen and you're like, oh, I think I know what's going on, right? It's that thinking I know kind of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the lack of depth out of that comes out on social media pretty quickly. And so that over time will burn you out as well. You want to welcome everyone in, and over time you realize, sorry to be that way, but a lot of your closest people you'll battle, they'll sail right by you just like the next stranger, so you don't know how to prioritize that. So that's another thing that like wears down on a live stream, right? So that takes away from the entertaining is how your audience grows to treat you over time. Thanks, V, appreciate you. Like there's a lot of great people, right? That like continually, but I think it's like that 90% that is always in that rotation. And that's where you do have to make sure that you're enjoying yourself, because part of social media, people live through what we enjoy doing. Like they want to see how you react to what you're doing, to be interested in what you're doing and what you're talking about.
I love the conversion rate. And by conversion rate, I mean converting the doom scrollers to, I'm just going to chill in your room no matter what. Like the amount of people that come into my chat and just fall asleep because they get propped up on their pillow, and they just go about their business. It's kind of like having comfort food or your favorite music in the background. It's their comfort TV show now. So the conversion rate from just doom scrolling and going, like rabbit hole on YouTube or whatever to, oh, he's on again or she's on again, that type thing. And it's okay, I'll just leave it here, regardless if they're interacting with the chat. They just kind of leave it on in the background. That I find that part just phenomenal, because you're bringing people into your life and they're staying with you even though they're doing their life.
Yeah.
But you're kind of like that warm hug at the end of the night that they look forward to, kind of like their favorite TV show or their favorite spot on the couch.
Right on. So yeah, the sense of belonging is important, right?
Yeah. I love how that turns into a lifetime follower or even a subscriber or somebody that just stops in and checks and does the heart me and goes, okay, hope you have an amazing day, and then takes off.
Yeah, for sure. Because if I'm doing what I'm trying to do every day and someone demands my attention at a microsecond that they demand it every single day times the 150 to 200 people, it's great. But the biggest issue with that I find that really comes down mentally on me is I'm excited to see people, but most of these people aren't really checking in for me. They're checking in to more keep the stupid membership alive. And I noticed it because I've been on the app before the Heart Me's, during this, and even now people come through and they do like a Heart Me and a Popular. And I appreciate people coming through, but people are missing the essence of fast scrolling, pretending you support 100 people. I think takes away from like everybody. Like, you need to like slow down, because I think that contributes to, like, you as a host, you have to race to announce someone and thank them, or you don't seem thankful to them because within the minute they're already gone. And that makes it very, very difficult. Like that's something that becomes very trivial. And that's why, like, it's great to hear that we award the 1 second, but over time it wears you thin. Those are the situations that wear you. But like the people, like you said, that fall asleep in your chat and know that they're coming in to like interact and relax, that's like the nice. That's where like the community really thrives and grows, right? Because people know it's like a nice place to go. The hard thing is definitely like balancing support and community. I think that's like one of the probably like the hardest. That's probably one of the hardest things to do.
It's really hard to know what live you need a moderator to monitor the chat and what live you're going to do on your own. Like, you can't just, I'm going to go live, and like say you end up gaming, you're not paying attention to the chat the whole time you're gaming, and people come in and do exactly what you're talking about, and then they're gone, and you're like, oh, I missed that person, or that person's now going to think, oh, he wasn't paying attention, so I'm not going to go back. And that's like when I cook and stuff, people for some reason have a habit of gifting me when I've had my back turned and I'm going to the oven, and I'll turn around and then they've gifted and I'll be like, oh, thank you, sorry I missed the gift, and they'll re-gift, which I don't want them to do. I just, like, I appreciate the first gift, or they'll make a comment or something, but it's like it wasn't intentional, but you immediately see what the intent was to get the attention and get some sort of reaction, which is great. I mean, that's kind of the intention behind them, but it's hard to know at the beginning of whatever you're doing. Like me DJing music last night, I can totally DJ and take requests and, put the music in to get played and mess with the lights and all that stuff. But then if I get a bunch of people in, people get missed and their request gets shuffled or whatever. So you almost need a moderator, like my moderator did. She was pinning some of the songs that I missed because she could see that I wasn't paying attention the whole time. But that's a hard thing to know especially if you don't have a moderator with you all the time or somebody dedicated to you. It's almost like a two-person show at that point that's required. So you have to schedule it with your team.
Yeah. Where like all the more when and that's long term, right? When you continue to go down that route, right? That's where you that's where then like you start having to figure out all sorts of like the details, right? Because you want to like hone in on the experience, right?
And about the gift thing, I'll be honest with you. I almost get more excited if somebody misses it than if they acknowledge it. For me, I don't know why I'm like that, but I almost get more fun when it's like, oh, he didn't see it. Ha ha. I
Yeah.
got it by him. You know? Um, and truth be told, like, two of the creators I regularly support are in this room right now, Zen being one of them. And I have joy sometimes when I'm doing it when he goes and runs away. And I'm like, oh, yeah, well, here's a gift, and here's a gift, and here's a gift, and here's a gift. And, and it's like, and I'm cool with that because, like, I'm doing that on purpose.
Mm.
Just so you know, like, some people might be doing that too. Like, when you're away from cooking and turn your back to the camera or whatever, just so you know. Like, because I'm like that.
Yeah, I never actually thought about it that way because the people that I've caught doing that, with one exception, I know of one person that would do that on purpose, but she's actually my moderator. Yeah, for the most part, I just come back and they'll regift or say it's okay or something like that. But yeah, I've done that several times. Unless it's an interactive gift, I could care less if they see it or not. The interactive ones are fun, but
I get that. I just thought I'd share my opinion on that. Because, like, I look out for that stuff and I purposely try to gift more in that moment.
I like it.
Because, like,
You
anyone
guys
can
got
say,
anything?
like, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, because, like, anyone can say thank you for a gift, right? But, like, I'm sending gifts not because I want the thank you. I'm sending the gifts because I truly believe that somebody deserves the coinage because of whatever they're doing. Whether it be, cooking a good meal or having a good conversation. Like, it's about supporting the creator specifically, not about a return for me.
Hmm.
Good perspective. It's good perspective.
I think the learning of the process for the new creators when somebody with more experience goes into the chat and then gifts and they ask a question like that, oh, what do the gifts do and stuff like that, and you get to, as much as you can in the chat, explain what it's for and how it drives views and stuff like that. Basically, most of my stuff ends up going back to new creators or creators that have just started up that are trying to grow that can't. I love how when somebody else comes in with a higher gift number and gifts, the lower gift numbers go, oh, that's cool. We should follow that up. And it creates like this cycle sometimes, depending on the room. But you can follow it up with a chat or a reason behind it or something explaining like, hey, I just followed you, or, these people should follow you as well. Like you do when I come into your chat and stuff. Hey, this is a really good dude. Follow him. Same when you come over to mine. It's a great process that happens. So I think gifts can be tied with that as well.
Yeah.
Not just the heart me's and the populars and stuff, but
Yeah, I think people forget how much their viewership is support too sometimes without even monetary.
It's just frankly being in the room, right? Listening, commenting. That's almost more than the value of a gift these days.
Yeah, that essence of time. I mean, I don't know
How
why.
much does the algorithm actually watch that stuff though? People like in the room and not chatting, like just say you have like in your back room. How does the algorithm actually watch for that?
Well, the more concurrent viewership is like a good thing, and then I mean, just people in the chat moving your comments and your taps is a huge thing. Like that's showing interaction to your room, right?
Yeah, which is super important.
Yeah, like me coming in telling you that I was over 100K for the entire week, like last week, because I have amazing people that come in and just tap and will chat every now and then, but they're rock solid. So if I'm on for 3 4 hours at a time, it'll be over 100K taps, and it's just like it's phenomenal. Last night was 70 something, but I was only on for 3 hours. But that's what they want to do, and they're happy doing that, happy to support. So that's amazing. They throw in comments or suggest songs, and it's just like there's other people that come in and do none of that, but they just sit in the room, and it's hard to tell how that gets monitored, right? How does that mean your live's more successful, or is it based on the movement of the chat? And how often does that change? It'd be interesting to see how they track that and what reasons they give for tracking that. What drives it?
Well, like what what on a live is your definition of success though, right? Like what at the end of the day are your objectives by the time you're finished your live is kind of I think my big thing that I would ask a lot of people. Just
For
like the
me, it's
same.
just to have a good time. The numbers don't mean anything, but from a I'm always interested standpoint, how does it get driven?
Well, really, how you should look at your live as much as like the live environments crumbled, but you need to look at it like an input output business, like a business. At the end of the day, like as much as it's like a hangout, that's how TikTok judges, right? Because it's like an
Mm,
expenditure to run the live, and to some extent that has to be replaced with income. So it's looked at like a business, and that's where social media, like at like the start of like even MySpace and Facebook, became very like became very release of everyone's personal details more more than experience sharing, more like one up nature as opposed to like sharing uniqueness or creativity. Because like that's like the root of so like on TikTok, like to the your ultimate mission, right, would be like the if that's like the adventure, but like the live pro badge that that like all these big streamers carry. The biggest element that gets forgotten about that is your main job is to inspire other people and other creators to be unique and to be extremely creative and different from everything else. And that's like the sole drive. And then it became coin driven and money based. But that's what that badge should carry, right? You've made a success out of your own creativity and your own following. And it's to continue that on to inspire others to continue, which naturally gets the platform to continue. But that's been lost as years have gone, and then so it's not there's not that same chain of push on other applications. What happens is some of the big streamers, what they do is they raid, which means like they take a bunch of their viewers and they dump them into other rooms to help boost them up and get exposure, which is kind of part of what like a live pro should do, is to spread that community without fear of losing who they are because they have that established.
mhm.
But it's so coin driven and by greed and jealousy that everyone's so scared of spreading that out. So it gets very fierce and lost as that pyramid narrows. That's the hardest part about social media, right?
Yeah, I'm torn on the idea of this point checking in too, where you gotta collect your points. That does help people stay longer, but it's a pain, right? I don't understand why that was brought in.
Microseconds of staying in the room gives the creator just a one more thing to hopefully hang on to the viewer.
Hmm.
It's really,
It slows the doom scroll process than just jumping in and going heart me like by, but
and I'm
it's
sure they've been
also
watching. I'm sure they've watched the metrics to watch that. Because now, if unless if you're just gonna heart me every day and think you're just gonna level up in people's rooms, you just can't do that anymore. You got to actually
hmm.
sit there and claim the points, which adds the watch time. So I think that's a
Yeah.
good strategy. In a way, as annoying as it is, it's a good strategy.
Yeah, I see the benefit. I see the drawback. Like I see it frustrates people. That a lot of people don't want to bother doing it. They don't want to do any likes or shares. They don't want to collect the points. But at the same time, the people that want to do it, I understand how that drives it. Whether it's an overall benefit, not sure yet.
Well, time will tell, and TikTok will make adjustments as they go. Right? They review the metrics. They see the slide or the positive trend, and then they make alterations to it. That's why things change, right? Because their goal is to keep the app alive, right? Keep everyone interested.
Yeah, what was with the update that was supposed to happen on the 25th, where there was no music allowed or something like that?
Just all
That
rumor.
Yeah, because there was actual documentation circulating, which was probably just AI
It wasn't
produced or
actual.
something
It
silly.
was an actual document. It was someone made a graphic. That's why I
Hmm.
tell people to be very careful. It's like a scam call on the phone. Anyone can replace people's voices, their faces, and anything. And it was quick. This is like this is my it's my pet peeve is this app has been the fastest spread of misinformation because especially as creators, it's our due diligence to look into things to cancel the rumors out rather than continue. And I fought to the point where I had my comments being deleted by other creators because they were so quick to make videos but didn't want the detrimental portion of me questioning their content with one comment. And
And
I
no evidence to back them up.
and no, and that's my big thing is like check your sources, everybody, very carefully. Like we owe it to our audience to be as honest as we can because God forbid we make a mistake. Like like I mean, we're all in a always a constant learning process. Like we just talked about how TikTok constantly changes, right? Um, but yeah, that is something that for me, I'm pretty serious about that because like I've been wrong about many things and I'll be wrong again. But the misinformation stems quick because people fight for views, right?
Yeah.
So, like that one graphic, sure, it looked great, but I don't know who made it. I could like not to be rude, but like some days I feel like I should make something really well done and post it on my page and see how it goes because people of what they think and then the day later reply back to that and then really push out that hey, just so you guys know, I made this fake post just cuz. Like you see how nobody checked my source, It's just one of those where it's a test because it's easy to get caught up in a post that ChatGPT made yesterday. It's just
Well,
a
it
You
warning.
could you could
it
do it.
it reminds me of the hippo commercials when we were kids, right? Of the house hippo, right?
Yeah.
Like people kind of like forgot about all of that all of a sudden. It's like, and now in today's age more than ever, you need to like check it twice. You know, do two sources because you never know. And I've been wrong on stuff before, but I think the one of the major differences I think about me is when I am wrong, I usually admit it and I usually retract the information and put the correct information out there. And not a lot of people do that step because it's so easy to be, oh, this evidence, blah, 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 and then like assume it's correct. But you have to do that checking part.
Can I just add in a disclaimer here? So for anybody that's watching right now, this is three males admitting that they've been wrong. So don't spread the information too wide.
I think the big problem is the checking of the sources. A lot of people just hit the search bar on TikTok or Google, and they hit a lot of common areas that overlap all the content. And then it's the same ecosystem that you're finding information from. And I think that becomes an issue.
Yeah, it's the misinformation confirmation algorithm on your search. So if you search something, it's like law of attraction. So you've searched something you're used to. Say you're looking for the health benefit of like aspirin or something like that, and you search and come up with, depending on how you worded the search, that's what's going to come up. And then everything after you look into is going to be based on that initial search. It
Well,
won't
what
show you
I'm
the
saying
bad side of it.
is then your device gets to learn between all the other things. And so what I'm saying is you'll get common points in other areas,
Hmm.
right? That'll start leading you down a path of personalization that will lead you to interpret one angle of the truth instead of taking on a more naive or less knowledge, like or less of, like, you know what I mean, middle of the road. Because I think that's like a big problem. Is a lot of times we just assume that we hit certain areas and like, oh, I'm going to get different results, but all the advertising keeps everything across a lot of different platforms that we use the same, which leads you to the same results, which makes it harder to check for sources. And that's another thing. And then in our fast moving world, you get a younger generation.
It 100% depends on your perspective and how you ask the question. So when you do your search, that's essentially what you're doing. But your brain is going, well, how do I normally find out information? I'm going to ask in the search bar or whatever you're using that question. That's totally normal and understandable. But I had this discussion before with a friend of mine that was looking for the anything detrimental to do with California greenery or that stuff. Oh, I can't find any articles saying that it's bad for your health or it causes anxiety or anything like that. And I went, how are you wording the question? Because all they were finding was positive effects. It's extremely healthy. It's not detrimental in any way. And I went, here, ask this way. And all of a sudden it was just flooded with, this happens. This is the side effect. This is how it affects your health long term. And it's like, so now you have both sides. Just think about how you're asking the question.
Yeah.
It's not that anybody's right or wrong. It's how does it pertain to you and how are you asking the question? But you need to find out, like, just maybe close one eye and look at it differently. Make sure you're checking your perspective on it. Are you biased in any way?
Yeah.
My other issue about researching stuff like that online is like you usually end up with like the worst case possible scenario first. I find. So like if I'm researching a drug or like a mineral, it's like, oh, it's gonna cause, kidney failure and this and that. Don't take it, blah blah blah. Like right off the hop, it's like, okay. Only if you take like, you know, 30 years worth of it at one time. You know what I mean? Like I find that a lot when I'm doing research, that it's difficult to sort out the crazy extremes on either side, like on either way of it.
Yeah, it's a learning process. Yeah, a lot like everything else. It's how do you filter out the information without becoming so reactive to the first, second, and third, like the top search results. I think that relates a lot to life, though.
It sure does.
Mm-hmm. How do you filter that in your head and just take it into account where it's multiple points of perspective that you need to consider before reacting to it, right? It's the as far as the internet goes, it's the propaganda train. Like milk's bad for you, or more than one coffee a day is bad, or you need this much water based on you're supposed to drink 8 cups a day. It's extremely individual.
Yeah, I definitely went down that rabbit hole one year when I was younger. Won't lie about that.
Yeah, I think we all suffer that, or have gone through that with whatever topic interested us at the time.
But it definitely made me stronger, realizing that I was like, it was for me, it was an educational moment. It was a understanding that what you're reading isn't necessarily directly reflected to you specifically. And it was definitely a growth moment for me. And that was in my early 20s.
Yeah, most people look at the first result or the first thing that are told by somebody else, and it's a lot like the misinformation that was spread on here about the music. And it's, oh, I heard this. The only thing I would respond in my chat was, "We'll wait and see what happens."
Well, yeah, until it's on TikTok's actual website, it's not law. You know?
Yeah,
That's how I look at it. It's all circumstantial. Because, and also, even if it was true, it could be wrong tomorrow. They could change their mind.
Yeah, so just so everyone knows how like usually community guidelines and everything works, usually they the least amount of notice that they've given is usually about 30 days. So usually they release the guideline update and then they give people 30 days to agree, adjust, learn. There's strategies that go around the live because people, like I said, right? This is where most of the money is made on this platform, and the reason this platform exists is because of the business side of it, right? Where it's monetary. And so the biggest thing that a lot of people forget is that when it affects monetary, you can't just like release guidelines tomorrow and expect a business to like inform their workers on the panic when there's TikTok shop, there's branded content. There's areas of TikTok that are business. And if you don't give a business 30 days to adjust to an area where there's revenue, you're going to see a drastic drop. And then long term, you're going to lose your support for using that platform. Because a business, if you kept changing on the fly what's going on and it keeps costing me money because I keep losing money because I have to keep adjusting on the fly, that's not going to work for me. And so this is where like there's a lot of creators on here because they're looking at this as a shits and giggles hangout with my buddies, lost direction of how social media is driven. And so when we look at it on a business side and like staying directed, it changes the way we look at social media because there's nothing really, the thing about the social thing about it is the movement of people. And then there's media. It's not really about family and friends. It's joining family and friends and the connections of people, but we've all seen the detrimental effects of releasing too much personal information online. And that's where I like say there's that hard limit for that reason, right? And so like that's where like I think part of streaming, like the emotional attachment to it, I think like strains the mental health too. And that's like part of almost like a good thing that it's changed, but like a bad thing with now, because now we're going to have like scaled rewards. And I think that's where like, you know, for instance, like you do your cooking and you entertain people, right? So I think that's like fantastic because that's entertainment and bringing people around like the topic of cooking, which is like a main thing too on this app. So like that's root of how the app works, right? Like you're using the app for how it's designed, and that's why like you're successful. I think that's like an important thing to highlight, right? And that's like the things to stay focused on long term, right? Is like the areas that you're using the app as to like how it's designed. And that's why like you brought in so many people, because that relatable, entertaining topic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the fact that I crossed over 7,500 last night during the live. So like that's just phenomenal to me. It's just unbelievable since like just the end of January I've been on here, and I wasn't even live at the end of January. It was mid February when I started going live.
Yeah.
So I mean, other people have grown a lot quicker, but for me to grow and take the amount of time off that I've had based on what I'm just doing, it boggles the mind. It's fantastic. I'm
Yeah, and I
forever
think,
grateful.
yeah, and then just make sure comparison doesn't take too much precedence, right? Because you're not really out to prove yourself to anyone else, so there's no need to even worry about anyone going faster or slower than you're moving to, right?
No, I'm happy. Like just like the agency side of it. Like I don't want to grow that way. I don't want to grow fueled by that. I love the organic part of it, and the people genuinely follow because they enjoy what the message is and the content, and
I'm
that's
just
it.
curious, like, what do you mean by Like, so what would be inorganic?
I think driven by an agency at that point, like the coin motivation or the uh, you're required to do this amount. Like they set down guidelines where you would like you to do this much and this much time each week and this month and stuff like that. It's
Okay.
just when I'm on here and why I'm on here and why I enjoy it. I consider that the organic thing rather
Okay.
than, hey, I'm associated with an agency. You should join. And like, it's almost like you're part of that group. You should push that part type thing. It's kind of like an implied responsibility once you're part of that association,
Hmm.
which depending on what the benefits of that group would be, might be something in the future. But
Yeah, no,
me
just
starting it
everyone's
up on my own,
yeah, just everyone's perspective of how, like, see, for me, so your inorganic is like basically like a hard, like basically grinding. So when you would say organic to someone like me, I would think like you're buying followers and ways of artificial growth would be inorganic, right? So like to anything that's not so if you said that to most people, that's what they inorganic they would think like
Unauthentic.
fake, fake followers and stuff like that. Uh,
mm,
but the one thing with agencies is they try to also there's a part of it that's positive that it's they try to say, hey, like, remember your time is worth, it is it should be worth a value, right? And so that's once again it gets back into that business driven sense, right? Because at that point it's an input of your time versus an output of what you're creating for the app and or organization.
I haven't been approached by anybody that talks about it in that sense that I could interpret from the messages. It's only there's a requirement or we love your content. We'd love to gift you this, and I'm like, that's not why I'm doing it. But thank you, I appreciate it. I'm gonna stay growing the way I am because I love how I've built the community thus far.
What
And that I haven't had anybody get upset with that response. It's just I haven't heard it explained the way you just did.
Yeah, and that's it's just and I'm just trying to objectively say, right? Like when you look at it, entertainment or education, and then try to input output versus your time, that's really just the raw basics of what even all social media would be based off of, right? If you were to look at it as a production, like and so some agencies, unfortunately, like I think there's ones that are out there, and those are probably the ones that haven't found you yet, but those are the ones that are likely more passive, more worried about supporting you through ways of helping you create content and become a more expressive creator rather than focused on the diamonds you make, because the diamonds you make are going to vary based on how good you are as a creator. So I don't know why we'd worry about the output if we're not helping you with any sort of an input is usually where that grinds my gears, right?
And for me, I want a place where someone would help evaluate what I want to do long term. Look at like a 2 year and a 5 year plan and guide me to making my vision a truth or a reality versus how many diamonds does one get or one make. I don't want that. I want a team. I want a group of people to be a team with me and give me how it is. Hey, you looked like crap on this video today, in my opinion, because of this, this, and this. You know, I'd rather a community like that, being straight up and real with me, instead of being like, well, you should jump up on 1 foot because that's what the trend is this month. Like, forget that. That's not what people should be.
I think it's, are we in the interest of, are we getting that creator to operate in the interest of that creator, or operate in the interest of the agency? Really, where the long term. And some people though, they just want to this is where, you know, we're in a group that we worry more about people than we do coins, but there's a big group of people out there that, I'm telling you, I've lost team members because we're no longer up in the leagues. Just literally, it's a league-based thing. As soon as I fall out of a certain league, and as soon as I'm not competitive, and you know, I don't do battles consistently, or I'm not constantly, you know, mixing up with other creators and whatever, well, those are all elements of financial. And that's the secondary reason of why I'm on this app. And it gets very skewed multiple times a year in this room where I want to grow, but I refuse to change who I am and how I run this room for a dollar amount. And that's a hard thing to see with a lot of people. But I just can't change, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to bed disappointed with how I run my stream, because it's my stream and I can't be disappointed with the actions I take every day.
I actually enjoyed not having the ranking listed. As much as I complained about it because I think it was paired with the guest button issue, I preferred not having a ranking because I didn't know and I didn't care, and I've never cared. And it's like people will come in and go, "Oh, you're in B1 or B2 or something like that." I'm like, "Oh, okay," because it changes the gift gallery. I'm like, "That's okay, cool." That was the only way you could find out, but it wasn't on my chat, and I'm like, all right, I got used to it, so I enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
So I think if it wasn't listed and it was maybe just a report that we got and it wasn't active all the time up in the corner, I think that might be a benefit long term to the creators, and they're just more focused on doing their content.
Maybe if that's something you want to turn off, like if you wanted to turn that off for someone else. But I think part of, like, there's a massive portion of this app that's extremely competitive, right? Like, they come on this app to just literally be competitive.
Yeah,
like
they got to be in the top every day.
Well, no, but it's even on the viewership side, right? There's people that instead of gambling, they come in, they'd rather have fun and see a personal reaction and the creator take 50% than to dump it at a casino. I've heard that story multiple times now over the years. And that's a very real thing. People are just like, oh, well, instead of going to gamble somewhere else, I come here. And at least I support someone.
At least the money goes to someone good instead of a corporation.
So that's the reason they move around the rankings and how that works to keep people interested. But I think you need to have some form of competition, or the monetary would really fall to the side. And then that would make it really difficult for people to, like at the end of the day, so the whole basis, right, is like my community, like my entertainment brings a community, your entertainment or whatever you're doing brings a community, and those battles are supposed to raise support for the creator and see who brings more support, like in a competitive nature. The problem is it's graduated to you scrolling to every single creator. If they're not in boxes, then they're in battles. And it's like kind of like one or the other. And so it kind of changed the app. Which is unfortunate, but
I wanted to circle back to just quick, mods for different um, live streams and stuff, and not understanding the requiring, and it kind of ties into what Byte Boss said with the having long term goals. Like, I think it'd be cool to have a team, whether it's part of an agency or whatever, where you could reserve mods. So it's not just you going, hey, I'm going to need you this stream or whatever. You kind of schedule your streams and look at it and go, oh, I'll need a mod for this, and this, and you can kind of click and go, I want to reserve this person, this person, this person, and it just cycles through, kind of like a floating mod service. That would be, I think that would be something cool to offer. I don't know if they already do or not, but
Well, the
that'd be
big
kind of
thing
neat.
is just, then you're scheduling someone's volunteered time. That's the beauty of having a moderator, like moderators in your room, and like they're a big part of your community that not only just looks to mute and whatever, but they create that sense of welcoming. It's like an upgraded, like, white glove service to your live kind of thing, right? They handle the door, they handle, when people are able to support and you can't thank them. They're making sure that people are feeling noticed and welcome, keeping the chat moving. But that's all unique to you, right? That's part of where, when you get into the raw, like, inputs and outputs of streaming, it's hard to, like, schedule someone's volunteered time, right? And that's long term. It's very difficult to have someone that wants to dedicate that time to you, yet alone to only doing that running around. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, I just think it'd be cool to have like a generic pool to pull from.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what the logistics would look like to create something like that, or how if it would even work eventually. But I think that'd be kind of neat to have the option. Like
The
you
only
swipe over to the other page and go, oh, I need 3 moderators. I'm doing a battle or whatever.
I think the only way that that would work is if you were on a team together. Like, let's say you let's go back to the agency idea. I could see it being like, hey, I registered my name to be available like Saturday, 11 a.m. to noon, you know, and
Yeah, like
then
picking up spare shifts.
yeah, kind of like that, but like just
Yeah,
giving my availability, and then the system automatically says, oh, my boss is available for you. Why don't you message him and see if he's interested? Like, not a
yeah,
forcing thing, but like a way to show availability. I mean, I could see
yeah. That'd
something
be
like
really
that being
awesome.
created. There isn't anything that exists currently like
No,
that.
there's temp agency work like for jobs and stuff that you can go on, because my friend was a dental assistant, so she would log on and look for work in the area, like local area, and it's floater positions. So companies would advertise, hey, we need a temp person these days for this amount of time, so you could register for that and stay on there, and you would get the notifications. This person would like you to work on these days. Do you accept? So I
Like,
think
I could
that
see
might
that
be a
being
cool system.
being like an agency thing as a bonus, and then if
Hmm.
enough people do it, then they get a reward. Like a kind of like Tim Hortons rewards or something. You
Yeah,
buy enough coffees and you get a free coffee kind of thing. I could see
there'd
something
have to
like
be kind
that
of
being.
a rating system though, so you wouldn't get the worst mod. Like you don't know this person from anybody, and maybe
Well,
they're
that's
not great.
that's my next thing, yeah, and that's where the unfamiliarity part comes, right? Is like, as soon as it's not paid and it's volunteer on that basis, that's why moderating is just like, it's almost like it's like a blessing. So, like, when moderators support the live coins and their time, like, yeah, that's a huge that's a huge thing. That's why, like, as much as sometimes mods feel like they need to be here or whatever, and I I want people to be here when I'm live. I've never in my life sent a message out and been like, you missed my live, like, you're a moderator here. What are you doing? Never been
Oh
like
no.
that.
And I can
I'm on
contest
the
to that. You've never done that. Like, I'm a mod here, and I'm here when I can, but like sometimes I just can't, right?
It's because
Or like I go to bed.
it's not a paid job. Like, there's no way to require someone to be in a place that they volunteer to be, right? That's the hardest thing that I found, like, long term. Is it's people
Yeah.
volunteering to help you, right? And that's why it's like it's just so personable at the end of the day.
You would have to structure it like it's a like when kids reach a certain age and they're allowed to babysit, it's recommended that you take them to the babysitting course and then they get a little certificate. So you've passed the moderator course, like you're a certified moderator. You could add levels to it if you wanted to, or highly recommended or something like that. But I think it'd be a cool system to have in place, like even if it is just agency based. But I think you could do it app wide based on, it's kind of like follower ratings too, kind of like level or experience time, or you know, just public ratings, like like Yelp ratings for mods. Like it kind
Yeah,
of commercializes it more than it already is, but I think it'd be a cool idea to have something in place like that. I think, and the payment structure as far as modding for big time, like very popular streamers with, you know, doing the huge battles. I think that should be a percentage based structure or something like that, based on time, and or maybe it's chat based. How much did you have to interact?
interesting.
It's definitely an interesting theory. Well, I can't talk. But there's a lot that needs to be ironed out on that. Because like
Oh,
I could
that's a big
understand
bag.
like, yeah, because you're like, what if you get somebody who doesn't speak English and you're in an English only room? Do you know what I mean? Like there's some things.
I think that'd be entertaining.
Well,
I
there's
think would be terrified, but that's just me.
I think there's all sorts of things though too, right? Like there's certain people that aren't allowed in certain people's rooms, and or there's certain situations that go on. There's so many details that I find that go into moderating that like it's like grabbing a moderator from another room, and just because they know how to hit the mute and block doesn't mean they know you and what you allow and what you don't, right?
And everyone
Yeah,
has a different style too. Like even in this room, I moderate different than another moderator would.
Yeah, I
Right?
think that's the big thing is all there's so many variables to making sure that it doesn't affect the way the creator runs that live. And that's why I think like once you have a few people that kind of gel with you long term, which I mean sometimes it takes a long time, right? And
yeah.
then you
I've
find
had
go ahead.
my mod do make decisions that were quicker than what I wanted, and we've discussed it afterwards, but hasn't happened very often because I'm more patient for. Also dependent on the situation. I think I'm more not forgiving, but tolerant of comments coming in or behaviors of other people, and I try and ask why, whereas other people differ from that and just will go like mute, block, done. So I'll try and dig a bit before I do that or give another chance, whereas other moderators or other people won't.
Yeah, I go into
So yeah,
warm with my own self. It's more like, hey man, so you know my thumb's on that button.
yeah. Be respectful. You're here to support.
Yeah.
Sorry, I haven't got much sleep, and it doesn't look like you have either. So I'm making more coffee.
So what I'm hearing is we all should have a meeting at the dad's house for coffee. Got it.
Yeah, I'm not in the bathroom. That's water running in the sink.
Sure, sure. It's not like we can't see the cabinets.
Yeah, I may do that in the sink. You gonna make it, buddy?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm just tired.
Uh huh. I feel you.
I feel like somebody didn't sleep last night.
It's all good.
I think we were both up stressing about what we were gonna talk about today. Well, not stressing, but thinking about it.
How do you both feel on how today went so far?
I'm pretty pretty just open just to letting everyone just kind of wander wherever and then kind of just think about it later. Areas like where, you know, like things we shouldn't touch more or less on, but I'm like so low judgment, so I just kind of, I'm not really too worried about it. I just want to make sure it's always like, always is productive. It's still allowing like people to interact, but the biggest thing is it's going to take a couple weeks of kind of just doing this at the same time for people to know what's going on and what's getting like talked about, and then you'll have more people to kind of adjust to the environment. Because I think a lot of people, and I've created my live this way, right? But I've got my good ones that'll come in and play and listen and figure it out. But there's a lot of people that as soon as there's talking, they're like, "Oh, you didn't talk back to me," and they're gone, right?
Well, that's
So
also why I've been trying to like in the chat say
no,
hi.
but it's one of those where it's totally fine. I think long term, like I need to stay focused on more like what we're doing, right? Like I'm enjoying having this conversation and kind of going about navigating through like responses and just thinking about things as they happen. I'm not so worried, and I told everybody I would not be very worried about the chat today. And it's not that I'm not trying to, you know, not interact with anyone, but I'm also trying to make sure that we continue to stay on topic, right? And not every moment continue to stray. Because I think that's really important for flow and everything overall, right? Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, it interrupts the flow of the conversation, and it's not with an intent of disrupting. It's an interaction. People want to be seen, but at the same time, the way we think, for the most part, I think we all kind of think similarly. If we interrupt the train of thought, even just to say hi, and we look at the chat, we then look for another comment based on what we've already said to them, and that interrupts it again. So it changes the original thought, and it doesn't come out the way it was originally intent. And that bothers us when we think back on it and go, shit, I should have just ignored the chat and continued with my train of thought because I missed the more important point that I wanted to make originally, because I feel like we're wired pretty similar with all of the stuff that goes on in our heads. It's hard to keep track of one thought and get it out before the other thoughts go, nope, this is important, this is important. And when you're watching a chat, that affects it. So,
well, and then you have people that just out of care, that's just how they also come into your live, right? They're like a hi, how are you? Like they want to just, you know, it's like a pleasantry, right? And so your good ones also completely understand. They're like they understand what's going on. If people aren't meant to be here, they won't be here. Like that's the other thing. If people aren't meant to be here long term, they're only going to be here as long as they want to. You can convince something that they don't want to be full. Just the same, right?
should we have, like you mentioned, a chat about what direction it's going to go? Do we have the chat here, or do we schedule another chat for another time so that it's us or whoever else we're bringing in on what's going to happen? Or do we just do what we did today, which is just have it happen, and then we figure out which direction it goes weekly until we get a structure, like a solid time, like we're already at an hour and a half. So like, do we
That's a
send
good
chats to each other? And
Yeah, I think so. I think we should try to organize something. I don't know if you use Discord outside of TikTok. No,
I can.
you can. Okay. Well, maybe we'll get you using Discord, and then we'll figure out how we can get in a group conversation, and then start pulling together some ideas so we can ease towards what we all really want, but make it a long-term group effort rather than I want to talk about this, I want to talk about, you know, you can slowly gauge what we all want out of it and how we're getting reactions, and you're going to get a very mixed chat for the first couple weeks. That'll just be a normal thing. It doesn't matter whose live we do it in long term, but I was thinking about just consistency of, like, we could do it in, if you can get your side fixed up, no problem there. But just so people know exactly, every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern, they're clicking into the same person for the same reason. And that's just niche, and that's just the niche, and trying to hit that target audience for that hour. It's more like, are they selecting station 16 or 26 on the converter to get to the same show? And just so people are punching in this every week, I think, is important, because I'm completely indifferent to who hosts. It doesn't matter to me.
Same.
Okay,
And me not having the option to.
Yeah, well, that would be nice, right? So we'll leave it to be hosted here. If you get yours fixed up and we want to switch over, you could also give it a try as soon as it works, right? And then just see how that. I'm willing to test, because sometimes you have an audience that's more suitable for one area or not, and like that's just the way it is, right? There's no one that would be more or less upset with that, right? We all just want to hit the most reach and grow a community around this slowly, because I think it's important. There's a lot of topics and a lot of areas to speak to, right?
It definitely is, because I've learned stuff just by asking questions and what we talked about. So hopefully the people in the chat, or even people watching from outside, benefited from it in some way. They're like, oh, I didn't know that. The amount of times I've said something or gone into somebody's live and made a comment, and they're like, oh, I did not know that. So we should be focusing on the educational part, even if it just stems from the three of us, or if it grows to a bigger group, only the education for us. The added benefit is if it educates and benefits other people.
I think there's always a good thing to be taken away from every interaction, even if it's something that you have to learn from, right? And so I think that's the important thing to remember as we continue to do it, is even if we don't have the most feeling like success, we're going to continue to even just even the chemistry of what and how we go about talking, everything will get more natural, right? And that's part of it. That's part of it. That's part of my reason for just leaving everything completely unstructured. Kind of lets us tangle a little bit, which isn't the worst thing. It lets our raw opinions out of how we feel from our own angles.
Yeah, perspective is key here, right? Because each of us have a different perspective.
Well, I think
that's funny, because I was just going to say the same thing.
Well, and I think that's important to take it at a very, how do I put it, unstructured approach brings out a more true perspective, because we're not starting on a point on a line. We're all starting from our own points and trying to meet as best we can. And I think that creates a little bit more friction at the beginning, just naturally, but will allow for a more natural process later. And it'll I think we'll be able to grow through things better. Because this is growing for all of us too. It's a growing for us. It's a growing for the ones listening. Thanks for the gifts, Wiggle Wiggle. I think it's critical to take this as slow as possible, and then find all the areas that are common that we want to discuss, and then just every week just adjust.
Yeah, even without a conversation, even we didn't even talk about what topics. We just let it kind of go and met up. And I think that's a healthy way to do it, because nobody knows how anybody's going to feel on that day, or what popped into their head, what they want to talk about. And then if we just come in here and just start talking about it, that's a really good way of doing it. the other alternative is to throw some suggestions at each other and have somewhat of a structure. But I think it definitely works.
I think it'll come with time.
Yeah, well, long
Yeah.
term you'll need it, right? Long term we'll need a topic eventually because then it'll just be like, hey, yeah, good week, yeah, what worked, this, what didn't, yeah, and then we're staring at each other at 9:30, going, let's at least get another hour in here. How do we
Yeah.
pass another hour, right? And then we don't have a topic to explore. But if you don't know, the angles of the personalities that you're dealing with, you're gonna have a hard time getting out the most honest, thought-provoking, um, the thought-provoking portion of the conversation will slowly dissipate, and that's the hard part. You don't want that to happen. You want us to be continuously interested in what each other is going to think about the topic as well.
I think as far as taking pressure off, coming up with topics, maybe something we should do kind of like an ace in the hole type thing is come up with an interesting fact that we think is kind of obscure, and each of us should have one each week in our back pocket in case the chat does fall flat, like you said, at 9:30, and it just like, all right, so that's good. We can all pull that up and go, hey, you know what I learned this week? Like maybe have something buried and just be like, I think this is pretty cool. Maybe it falls flat on its face. Maybe everybody's like, yeah, we already knew that. Thanks. Maybe it's something that opens up the whole conversation.
And that, I think that'll be important to finding ways to almost make it almost like a morning podcast.
What I was going to suggest is doing the Discord thing and having a channel just for the us for now, and then like whoever else is up here, and then we have a list of topics that we all kind of put in this chat, and if we did find that flat point, we just go to that chat real quick, pull out a line, and away we go.
Yeah, we can do stuff like that.
That's kind of what I was thinking, because I do like the flow of it being a little more open and not as structured, only because mental health isn't structured. It's not something that just we turn on and off, or we can just be like, oh, only on this one line am I feeling this way or that way. It's not like that. So I don't think this conversation should be structured in that way, because it would be more fate, I guess. I don't have a better word of saying that, but it would feel more
Pushed.
Yeah.
Well, the big thing is to keep mental health in the areas of all the corners of streaming, right? So if we were to come on and dealing with low viewership, right? And then we're having a mental health chat that brings stream support around the topic of low viewership, or I'm just bringing up a topic that seems to be a big thing that affects anyone when it dips, right?
I like that idea too. Did you guys read the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, Paulie. How do you pin for longer than a minute?
You don't.
Okay.
And can we even pin in this particular situation? Yeah.
So that's the other. That's why I think big areas, large areas to touch base on, and then to go through individual points that highlight the mental health, part of it being the mental health aspects of that, right? So that's what I mean. So we brought up, with one of our topics today, right? We didn't go too deep, but just moderation of a live in general. That's a long topic. That's multi-live topic that we all have our perspective about, and then we can take an angle of that, finding moderation, handling your actual moderators, looking for moderate. There's so many different little mini topics of that then we can blow up and speak about. So that's where
I can add a rate your moderator section in here. Bring your moderator up into the box and.
Well, you know what I mean though about mental health areas. You can talk about the health, the mental health impacts of those situations, which will bring that support to people, because those are important areas to discuss. That, oh, I never thought about it in that way. That way it's a
Yeah,
little bit
along
more
with that,
like
do we add in a segment as well where we bring somebody else up in the box, like somebody that's known or somebody new, maybe up and coming, or somebody that can offer, like we give them a 5 or 10 minute, like here's your mic, here's your chance to talk, and then we talk about that topic as well. Like,
yeah, well, even just what Steven put in there, even people that like email topics, and then we just slowly go through them all. And as we get to that next topic, we just go through them. We just literally go through all the topics like as they come in. And I'm sure over time you would get
huge,
like, as
huge.
much as I want people. So my reasoning for not wanting, I mean, at some point it would be great to bring up guests, and if we figure out a way of structuring that. The big thing is someone comes up and there's a lot of people that will just be excited. They're just like, I'm in front of people and they're so excited. So if there's like no structure to bring them up into like what we're getting out of them, it kind of leads for like for as much as we can snake, it'll give them even more room, right? So I think that's a great idea. We just have to
I'm kind of
figure out
basing it
the
off
best way to handle it.
our first interaction when I popped into your chat the first time, and then I came into the box and we talked about mental health because of what you had seen that I was doing, and the things that you had said, even just seeing me in the chat.
Yeah.
And I felt I needed to come up and say something. So if we did structure it similar to that, like we had a topic, or we had somebody that was willing to come on and talk about it, or just even like maybe a 10-minute segment, like this is later on down the road of
Yeah.
here's a new streamer that we'd like to hear what their idea is on the app and what they're trying to do. Maybe we can offer assistance, or maybe the chat can offer assistance, that type of thing. But I love the email idea as well.
As long as
For
there's easy ways to manage it, right? Like, because you just got to think
Mhm.
in masses, right? Like right now there's 11, 12. Let's picture 300 plus. Let's just like play that so it becomes easy for us to just steadily work into it, rather than, well, we can't bring up people anymore because we didn't figure out it. You know what I mean? Like, and then it changes the way you run your show, which affects your viewership. I'm just trying to like the most subtle changes and evolving through it. But I definitely want to figure out a way to make sure the audience is always heard to bring up
So
their
in
ideas.
that point, if it ever did escalate to that point, or even above what we are now, like even if we got to 50 or 60 and it was people genuinely interested in the conversation, that's where you'd have to have a moderator either pinning, which in this case we can't, or at least writing down the comments and taking note, and then reconveying somehow. Like
There's a couple
maybe we
ideas
have
I
to have a
had there.
Discord open.
Yeah, I was thinking Discord and having a moderator just mod to the channel, like a special room that we have in the Discord. And the email is a great idea too, and we can filter that. Like we can have people putting in comments, and then like the three of us going through and then pulling the ones we like and putting them in that Discord channel kind of thing. That's what I was thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least at the beginning, right? And then that way we have like a message form or something like on a website where they can go and they can put that information in, and then us three sort it out and pull the ones we like out, you know? Because we're gonna get ones that are like not related, but we might actually get ones that we really like. You know, we might get like an idea from somebody that's like, oh wow, that's really good. You know,
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good way. Discord will be a good way that we can stay organized one way or the other. At least that be a good touch point, because this app is just so inconsistent, right?
So that I agree with you, Paulie, on that one. But the videos are so inconsistent as well. Who they get pushed out to, because half of my stuff, depending on what I post, doesn't get pushed out to my followers. So it's difficult unless you go hunting for it. Unless we had a dedicated page for this, then we're not at that point yet. Like we didn't even make a post for this or register for the event, anything like that. So I think once, if it's going to be the three of us or more people down the road, I think if we made a post and people could register for the event, then list the topics you would like to talk about, that type of thing. I think that structure might work better than just the three of us posting whatever and taking the bulk of that, because that adds another aspect and a large amount of work to filter through as well. Because now it's your regular content plus the stuff you're posting about for this. I think if it's in one central area, that helps us.
That's positive. I like that. I do have two cats actually. They're both dead. Yeah, I think as long as we can continue to keep everything organized, that's the big thing. Staying organized is a huge thing because as soon as you're disorganized, it causes multiple handling of conversations even, which take double the time, which already as much as like we're happy to dedicate and you know what I mean and do this, it's like you want to make sure it's something that continues to stay productive for
you want the juice to be worth the squeeze. You don't want it to be all consuming and then just you're sitting here for an hour and a half and you got 5 people watching and it's only helping us briefly, but the workload on top of it to get to that point is more draining than, like you said, the input output.
and that's what I mean. And I'm not trying to that's why like I'm never trying to change anyone from doing what they want to do, but I just want people to remember that they themselves, when they sit on stream, like their own time, right, like that's valued, and that goes into all the offline stuff that no one sees, right? That's the hardest part too. You get judged very heavily on what you're on camera, and no one even sees about what goes into the off camera, right? Like even to this, like how many, we touch point, then you make sure you confirm, okay, we're for sure gonna do it. It's the first time, like you just make sure for the little things, but it's worth it. I just want to say, like, it's worth it. I just want to always make sure it's worth it, and we can continue to create a productive space that will grow. That's
I think
what we're here for.
I think we're all realistic enough and open enough with each other, even me knowing you guys a short amount of time, that if we felt that it was detrimental in any way, that there wouldn't be any hard feelings, and we could, all three of us could say, it's not working for me, it's too much time, either restructure or just drop it.
Yeah, that's
100%.
And it might only, it might be a great thing for 6 to 8 months, and then the you know what I mean, the traction that we have on it might be enough to carry it that long, and then people, what we might not realize is how many people that you're actually impacting while we're doing something like this, right? Like that, just people knowing that there's going to be a safe space every week that's going to have this open discussion like this. It's not going to be, and that's the other part I wanted to talk about. Sorry, just quickly to touch about bringing up guests. So bringing up random guests, we all know that feeling of when you're in a random live where they bring up unknown from the audience and it ends up shocking, even though it's within the realms of regular inappropriate, it's still shocking to that 70% that was there for that safe space. And that's the other thing that we just have to also, that I wanted to, mention so that we keep in mind. Oh, you're allowed to leave whenever you want.
There should be requirements if we ever get to the point where we bring up guests. Do you know them? Do I know them? It has to be everybody agrees on it before we do that. Where it's a prearranged. If it's somebody that none of us know, some of us or one of us vets them somehow.
Yeah,
that doesn't
prearranged.
happen.
Prearranged is the key here, I think.
Yeah, I think prearranged would be good, and then that way it. So if I pop into the, someone pops in the live today, it'll also give them a reason to tune in another week, right? So you hear for the rest of the live how this is going to go. People aren't going to get up in the guest box for this week, but we'll take a list of people and slowly figure out how to bring up one person or a couple people at a time.
And I'm also thinking like the same way how I had where the comment about mods and registering. I think if people want to volunteer to be a guest speaker, like maybe we should let them do that and then give a reason why they would want to come up, right?
Yeah.
As part of the vetting process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Great idea that way.
This makes me think of the Australians that I watch. They're on TikTok quite a bit, and they have a podcast, and regularly they'll have like they'll just post ideas, and people will write in with the ideas. It's like worst way to uh, worst way to end yourself, that type thing, or worst way to near miss that event. And people will write in with the stories. It's hilarious because they're Australian and reading them out, or they'll have the people actually call into the podcast and say their story, which is hilarious. So they like eventually down the road, if we generated something like that, like the email ideas, that type of thing, we could post a topic that people could comment on similar to that stuff that might add some humor, or we section it so that there maybe is segments to it, like bringing up guests. Maybe we dedicate an entire hour and a half to only bringing up guests if the list grows to that point where it's a necessity.
Yeah, I think, just to continue to take this week by week and just make very slow adjustments to everything, right? And hopefully you keep your initial audience, and then you just continue to evolve the process to gain good viewership around what's actually important on this app too. A lot of things that get missed.
That's a good way to do what I would consider a screen test, like, or audience poll. Like what works and what doesn't. What was successful in our mind? What drew in more viewers and what had the most interaction, and what didn't.
Well, and that's why I think it'll be important that we keep them concise too, right? Which will allow us to be able to review what went on, rather than it's, we did this for like 4 hours today, and then, I don't really know. Well, I kind of remember what happened at the beginning and know how we ended it. How did you lose the details as the data climbs of how long. So
yeah, one of us just went on a tangent for like an hour and a half of just babbling. You're like, what happened?
that's why it's very specific as to who comes up here too, right? Because that holds the topic a little bit more true. I think that's like really, really, really important. It's because it's very easy to get off topic.
Speaking of off topic, I love when people just pop in and make comments like what you just got there. That's fucking awesome.
I've actually known her a long time. Like one of like OGs in this room. Like super OG in this room. Like, I mean, I've been through a lot with some people. That's why like some of my things, like I never mean to come off harsh, as edgy as some of my ways of looking at things are. They come from a little bit like, I've never had like an amazing, runaway success on this app, but I've also only ever taken it more and more seriously in the past year. Even up to this point, I haven't really taken this app as serious, which has led to a very, I don't know, you get a lot of experiences in other groups and how the app's evolved and how the audience changes with that. And so that's where now, I mean, it's great that we want to do something like this, because it allows me to speak into stuff that, there was a point when it wasn't even battles. There was barely ranks. There was barely this and barely that, right? And now the app's got so many of these things going on. So I'm fortunate, right, to be able to have seen the app at like a very simple time too.
Back at its roots.
What?
Back at its roots.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's just some stuff where that's not like things that TikTok brought to social media, right, has really changed the barrier to being able to go live. Years ago, if you didn't have a computer, right, you weren't broadcasting. Mobile phone didn't exist to broadcast, right? We go back 20 years, you were paying for your text messages.
Yeah. Dial-up internet. You know?
You know,
Rotary
so,
phone.
so we just think about those advantages and how they're actually getting improved because we're not really using our time to be creative to the world sometimes, right? And so that's where I think that's also comes back on our mental health, right? As you look at the time and how you used it, and if you don't feel like you've ever effectively used your time, just think when you go on vacation and you don't use your time wisely on vacation, you feel like you wasted really valuable time. Don't tell me that doesn't stack up in your day-to-day life. And that will micro get you even on this app, and I can tell you that from experience. And that's where some of the edginess comes from. Oh, thank you, buddy.
It's awesome.
So I think that's like the critical part of reminding ourselves of the value of our time. And then our audience catches on to that too, because they want to support us in all the right ways. And if the people that don't want to support us aren't going to be here, whether we value our time or not. So I think this is going to be a good thing.
I agree.
Bo with the sub. Thank you, buddy.
I was in a really good spot yesterday, and there was a bunch of people that messaged me that weren't in a really good spot. So I was mid dishes or laundry or whatever, and I went, "Hey, if you got a minute, I don't have any other way to contact you. I'm gonna go live. Come into the chat." And I sat here, and I just talked about stuff for. I think I was on for 20 minutes or so. I didn't play any music. I didn't do any stuff like that. I just sat and had a chat, and there was multiple people that had been struggling, and I felt like I was in a good enough spot at the time to come in and just say some really affirming things that were very helpful. And the feedback that I got from that was great, but it touches back on the importance of time. Like, it wasn't scheduled, and I think people need to understand it's extremely important, everybody's time, and when they take the time to give you a hug or to stop in and say hi or anything, or just send you a message, check in on you, that's super important. And I know some of these people that were there don't have that in their life. They don't have anybody checking on them. So it was intended towards like 2 or 3 people, and there was a bunch of people that showed up, and most of those people either said when I was live later, thank you, or messaged me. And it was just intended to have that effect of there's somebody here. It doesn't have to be me, but if you need, reach out. You may not feel like you have that person now, but that person is, everybody has that person. Just reach out. Don't be afraid of it. Open up and say, hey, I'm struggling. And hopefully that message made it through to those people and they understood that, because thankfully I had that. I didn't know who to reach out to, and I did, and they helped me like more than you can put into words. So
yeah, and
that went off really well.
So that's the other thing where Discord's like a great thing, right? When you make like a little community, and it becomes like a space where people can find, even at the very minimum, can find people through your community, and that allows them to communicate on not just a text basis, but with voice, with video, with, I know TikTok's slowly adding more and more like pictures and media through, but Discord's just been a very, it's been a good rock for that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another area as you get more comfortable with that, to consider.
Because you never know who's going to step up either. Like if somebody said, hey, I need to talk, you never know who's going to be like, well, I'm here to listen.
Yeah, like you carry the community, and then your community is able to help carry other people in the community, and then that it's not that you're not and this is the hardest thing to establish, is there's no unwilling to support others. It's just a time thing at the end of the day that adds up, where that problem multiplied times even a community of 150 people would be overwhelming to your mental health long term. And that's, that's part of staying very structured, is for that reason, right? Is expectation. The meow sticker is going to be my favorite. Oh, that's awesome, Bo.
And I honestly, truly believe that everyone needs help sometimes. Whether it's just an ear to listen, a second opinion, a break from reality, let's say. I truly believe that everybody needs that.
Yeah. I think that's what's going to be really, really important about these chats, is like, you'll get people that'll be more excited to tune in, and earlier, right? The word will get out sooner, just so everyone knows and is listening. 9 a.m. Eastern. Next week, we're going to do the exact same thing. Same start time. Be a little bit more structured, but the same kind of laid back, grab a coffee, wake up, tune in, hang out.
Maybe even make a post.
We'll have a post in an event for next week. We'll have a post. I'll continue to develop some stuff around this based on, this live, and then I can share. So if you get Discord, get me added, and then I can share, like, I'll make like a poster, and then we'll keep it consistent, right, for people to see, or however, and then continue to get it pushed out really nice every Sunday for the same time, and then be able to grab that level of community that needs to hear it, right? Because that's what we're after, right? Is reaching out to that right community that needs more than they know, and that's kind of what our whole purpose is to do, right? We started 2 hours ago. It was pretty impromptu this week, everyone. So just if you're missing out, make sure you follow everyone in the boxes. And next Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern, we'll be doing the same thing again, and it'll be every week. And so I really want as many people to be here and just to listen, because this has been very, very productive and eye-opening for, I think, a few different people.
Well, I learned a few things today too. So
I think we all did. Thanks to everybody for all the support today. Viewership, follows, heart me's, gifts, everything. Thank you, guys. So 6 my time next week. Yeah, sorry it's a little early for the East Coast. We tried to push it as late as possible, but if it goes any later for our morning, starting at like 10 is almost getting a little too late.
Yeah, we got to do, adult and stuff.
Nah, that's optional. I know. I was very surprised to see Chrissy here, because she's in BC, so it's 6 a.m. She had to get up, and she asked me last night, "Do I really have to get up?" I'm like, "No, you don't have to be here at all." But she showed up. Something must have got her out of bed.
Those who want to be here will be here. Just that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where people will understand. That's also, the chat will be run as we're going to try to respond to things that will cue the chat, and I think we do need to figure out an overall topic, I think, per week, but we'll try to keep it as open as possible, and I think that'll keep it really, really healthy.
Yeah, and Steven is one of my buddies. Polly, Lana's always in my chat. She's the most amazing tapper. She's constantly the one that gets, like, she's there every friggin' time I'm live tapping. Brock's here, and I know these guys came over. Some of them were part of your group already, but they're regulars in my community. Just amazing people.
Yeah, it's a good overlapping bunch of people that um, ultimately need to stick together. As big of a community as we think we can grow, there's always people out there that need to be around good people and need to hear a good message as well.
I think the part that I'm most proud of is the amount of people that are still in my group that still stop by that have gone off to do their own thing, like their own lives, and they still come back to support and say, "Hey, my live went awesome," or like, "Good to see you're doing well," and stuff like that. But they've gone on with their own little community, but it spawned from a simple, "Hey, you should go do that,"
Yeah,
and
it's
now
nice
they
to
don't.
see, right? But isn't that so
Yeah,
nice to see?
that's friggin' amazing because they don't stop in like they used to and like tap and chat and gift and all that, but they've gone on to do their own thing. So they're doing their own amazing thing, and now they have people that they're pushing out to do the same thing as well.
Yeah, and that's where winners celebrate winners, right? It's an important thing to always remember. Thanks,
Yeah,
Paul.
a good manager always talks about the team, not "you do this for me." It's we are going to progress this way.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I think. But yeah, I think it was very, 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 very positive.
I learned that from the internet.
No, I appreciate everybody that's came through. And then we hope to see everybody next week at that same time. So 9 a.m. Everybody will be the same thing next week.
Are we at the point where we want to put a hard time limit on it? Like you said, Pipe Boss, we got adulting to do. So are we gonna like we've already gone past the hour and a half, which was originally intended. I know it's soft launch and first time, but
Yeah, I think
do we
we're
put a hard time on it?
yeah, I think an hour and a half, no more than 2 hours, and then that keeps the live or else it creates the doors open for too long.
Yeah.
Right? We want the door to be open, people to come in, we say our piece, keep it concise, and then people go on their day and have their best day.
An uplifting boost for their day, you know?
Correct. Yeah.
So if you're going to continue hosting, if you're going to be the guy that is doing the main post and the poster and all that stuff, I think at the 2 hour mark, regardless, I think there should be a hard rule, and I think it's going to make it fun because if we ever run over the 2 hour mark, I think at 2 hours you should automatically go kick whoever's in here. It's a 2 hour time limit. Mid sentence doesn't matter. Important point doesn't matter.
I think
Done.
I mean what I'll probably do next week is I'll set an alarm for at the hour and a half, right? And then it'll be like, hey, guys, we're at the hour and a half, let's head into let's start
Closing
Yeah,
statements.
that's
so
wrap it
yeah,
up.
slowly start closing it. And then at 10 minutes to the 2 hours, it's like, 10 minutes. And then the 5 minutes, it's like, okay, we're down to that 5 minutes, everybody. And then, that also wraps the viewers up to get them to be like, hey, hit the red button so you follow us, so you grab us next week, grab all the bubbles. These are the people talking. And then see where this goes the following week. But yeah, no, I'll definitely have to be the hard one about that.
I think it'd be hilarious, especially if we're talking about something and you're just like, "Okay, you're done.
Yeah, and that's where I
See you
think
next week."
everyone will slowly adjust, right? And that's kind of how a TV show is, though, right? The TV show turns on, or like the movie starts at 9 and it's over at 11. There isn't more than the credits. We just have to do it that way, and I think that's a smart. I think that's a smart thing. And yes, Ermina and everybody, we are buttoning up here, and I'm gonna end the live, and everyone go have a great day. Make sure everyone follows everyone in the boxes. Follow each other. Appreciate everybody and all their support. It was awesome.
I feel like today was a great first launch, you know?
I definitely enjoyed it. It's going to give me lots of stuff to think about and mull around in my head, and then I got to figure out whether or not I have to get a different computer or upgrade the one I have so I can actually try and run Studio successfully. And is there a link to the Discord that you can send me, or?
It's actually, well, you've got a subscription, so you can hit the subscription thing at the bottom. You can go through your team member, or there's a link in my bio for it. There's 3 different ways, whichever way. And if you have any trouble, you can just DM me. Anyone, you guys all can. That's how you get into the Discord, everyone. Link in bio. You can subscribe for a role, or even if you send a heart me, you can go through the team. There's some buttons to click through. We can do that another time, and we can explain that. But there is a link in my bio, and if anyone has any issues, always just please DM. All right, gentlemen. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Happy Sunday.
You too.
Yeah, happy Sunday, everyone. We'll take care. We'll see you guys later on.
See you.
Bye.